We now understand the difference between the four basic polarities of consciousness, of existence, and we know how men and women are polarized, either positively or negatively, along the scale of full and empty, at each level of consciousness, body, emotion, mind, and will. Those polarity differences are the base differences. However, when factoring man's relation to the universe, we find one more difference, one fundamental truth. That is, since man is polarized against nature, he is closer to the source. Why? Because the natural state of this reality is entropy, separation. What is the universe separating from, though? An infinite point at the center of the Big Bang before time? Or shall we call that God? Whatever form God may take in whomever's mind, we can agree that God is the source, the cause of this existence. Expanding ever outwards into separation, cause becoming effect. What came from the Creator becomes the created. What comes from the infinite becomes the finite. Now, man is closer to that source as he suffers to push against the flow of separation. Man is closer to the Creator. Woman is closer to nature, that which is the way of reality. She flows with the natural polarities of the universe. She is closer in her own nature to that which has been created with reality. This brings us to the truth that God is to the world as man is to woman. This is not to say that man literally created woman as God created the world. These polarities are relative in humans. However, if we were to compare masculine energy to feminine energy at its core, this is clearly true. Masculine energy is the energy of the Creator. Feminine energy is the energy of the created. There is more masculine energy in man and more feminine energy in woman. Yet, as I said, it is relative. For example, man is feminine relative to God. Now, from creation to matter, from unity to separateness, you can see that the universe, as it is now, is the opposite of how it began. It would have to be. An old Jewish saying asks the question, if God is everything, what is it that he lacks? The answer is he lacks limitations. So, to be able to create anything, to make existence, God had to invert himself from the infinite to the finite. It's funny how scientists describe the point of the Big Bang in a similar way to how religious men describe their gods. A space where there are no laws of physics and its energy is technically infinite. God is omnipotent. It is simultaneously doesn't exist because time is yet to exist. God is timeless. I agree with scientists that God is more like an indescribable epiphenomenon of existence, like that infinite point before the Big Bang. God certainly doesn't look like a human, as some religions profess. Nonetheless, humans were made in his image, just like everything in the universe is in his image. You could also say that the universe is made in the image of the Big Bang. Why? Because the Big Bang caused the universe. The creation is a reflection of the Creator. The effect is a reflection of the cause. So, the universe is the reflection of God, or the reflection of the Big Bang point. Well, you probably know what I'm going to say next. Our ancestors were right. Woman is a reflection of man. Feminine energy is a reflection of masculine energy. Why? It's all inverted. God goes from timeless to time. God goes from infinite to finiteness. God goes from technically not existing to everything that is. The source point to the result that is creation. Man does the same to woman, yet bridges a much smaller gap. For example, a man who loves to give will find a woman who loves to receive. A man who hates himself will find a woman who hates him. A man who protects will find a woman who needs protecting. Now remember, the human doings and the human beings. These examples involve man doing and woman being. Just like God or the Big Bang did creation, creation, or the universe, just exists, giving feedback to God in its unconscious reflection of Him. It is in this feedback loop that the nature of man can be found in woman. Man cannot fully know himself without woman. Why? Because nature and woman are being, and their way of being is determined by the actions or causes of man. So, in this way, man learns to understand himself through woman, because he will find himself reflected through her. Woman also finds herself in man, because her feminine nature will only accept the masculine energy that essentially creates in her what she wants to be created as. Now, this choice of man on woman's part is the reason why woman is not 100% feminine and man is not 100% masculine. It is probably 80-20, Zipf's law, but I digress. If woman was 100% feminine, she would literally become the female version of her father with no differences. This kind of already happens, but not to a 100% accuracy. Women still have some masculine energy that inherently creates its own feminine reflection. But regarding the father, the first man in a woman's life, why do you think women like men who are similar to their father, and women without fathers have trouble knowing who they are or what they like? It is because a woman's nature is largely created by her father, the first man in her life. It is also so that man first understands himself, first develops his own ego through what his mother reflects from him. And so, you have the ultimate difference between man and woman. Man is of heaven, and woman is of earth. Do you understand now why we have, for years, unconsciously called nature, Mother Nature, and God, the Father? It is because God is masculine, and His creation is feminine. His creation is opposite Him exactly. It is the only way He could have created something from nothing. He had to invert Himself, so that He could see Himself in His reflection. It is told well in the analogy of man being the sun and woman being the moon, reflecting His light. However, the earth would be a better analogy for woman, creating a reflection of the energy of the sun, as life itself. So, I leave you with the basic truth that masculine energy is cause and feminine energy is effect. Man is reflected in a woman. The old analogy of Genesis from the Bible is metaphorically correct, just lacking in detail. There is one more magical thing to know, however. As man sees himself in woman, his self-awareness grows, and through this greater understanding of himself, he can create more, and the woman will grow with him, reflecting his increased light. Man and woman are a superpolarity circle of the growth of consciousness itself. In this exact same way, God grows himself through the reflection of his own creation, which then allows his light to further grow the creation. It is a superpolarity circle of the growth of consciousness itself. Man begins the dance and woman finishes it. Man has power and woman has value. In this way, they are equal but opposite. Man is the breath in and woman is the breath out.